holstering the guns.
Hello, Internet. We're back. Quick draw. We're back for another pre-written campaign review. I don't know if you can see that. That's the starter set campaign, Lost Mines of Phandelver.
This is Lost Mines of Phandelver.
This comes in the $20 box that you buy. Comes with an extra set of dice, basic rules, and pre-written characters. This is theoretically your intro to D&D, 5th edition, or D&D in general. So we decided we want to do a review similar to what we did with Court of the Dragon Queen. So if you haven't played, there will be spoilers. We're not going to break this video up like we did with the other ones because it's a fairly short campaign. Yeah. We were able to play through it with 2 to only 3 people in about 5 weeks.
10 hours?
10-ish hours, maybe a little more than that.
Maybe a little more.
But yeah, so we'll start off in the beginning. The front of the book, it just has a lot of, again, this is intro stuff, so here's how DCs work. Here's a little background on the area. There's a map of Neverwinter Wood. And where, so there is Phandalin.
I never saw this.
You never saw this, I know. Old Owl Well, Wyvern Cave, etc.
I thought Wyvern Cave was on the coast.
No.
Because there were waves that are echoing.
Yeah.
I just assumed.
Nope.
Misnomer.
So, the start of this is the characters are under employ of Gundred Rockseeker, a dwarf, and basically you start, the characters kind of all know each other, unless you choose to do an intro mission yourself.
Yeah.
They're traveling down the road, they see dead horses in the middle of the road, and that's where the whole thing starts. So, players are supposed to go, somebody goes and investigates that, they get ambushed by goblins, this fight ensues, something happens, they capture a goblin, torture a goblin, track the goblins, whatever, they follow them back to their cave here, the Cragmaw hideout.
Cragmaw hideout.
There could be traps on the way.
Could be.
And then you basically clear out the whole cave. There are wolves in the cave, several goblins, there's a bugbear. He was actually pretty formidable for a first level character.
Yeah.
He has a pet wolf. You can get washed out completely if you accidentally notify them. They'll pull like a dam and water will push you out of the cave. And essentially you travel through this, you find, is it Sildar Hallwinter, whatever his name is actually Sildar Hallwinter.
Sildar Hallwinter.
Who knows Gundred Rockseeker, and he asks you rescue him, and he's going to go with you to Phandalin. So that's chapter 1. That's what's supposed to happen. In the game that we played,
which you can find on Immersion.com.
Yes, I'll put a link somewhere in here-ish video. There is, it's supposed to be designed for 4 to 6 players.
Yeah.
Everybody we were supposed to have come play dropped out, so we had 2.
Yeah.
So that first goblin fight where 4 goblins ambushed the party, 3 of them were taken down.
Yeah.
And 1 of them took out both party members.
Yep.
So that goblin basically took all their stuff and went back to the cave. And I made the goblin level up and gain fighter levels because he killed 2 players.
Makes sense.
So they had a little bit of a rougher time sorting through the cave. They ended up taking out the bugbear and the wolf, and their biggest struggle really was going and fighting that goblin later on.
Yeah. One of the things I hadn't thought about though, since that's how we did it, is how we had to track down the goblins in their cave to get our stuff back. Had that not been a driving factor, I would have been like, there's these goblins. Killed them, let's go. Down the road.
Well, I mean, there were the body being dragged off. And,
Yeah.
You knew that one of the horses was Gundren's horse.
I did?
Yes, I mentioned that.
I was unconscious, I don't remember.
Yes.
My character was unconscious.
And you had the scroll case and all that, and there were clearly bodies dragged away from the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would I have cared?
I don't know.
So,
I've also ran this another time, and the party that ran into this, they alerted the goblins by accident, and they broke the dam, and the water just bludgeoned them out of the cave. So they just took a long rest during the day and waited so they could go back in and not be dead. I don't think, I like the way this first chapter is designed. Everything you pretty much need is all in here, all contained within the book. Has information for, grids and how all that works. The only thing I'd say is, if you're playing with less people, remember to scale things back, because it could be potentially fatal. But other than that, I feel it's a fairly balanced first chapter.
Well, I don't know how I feel about the first battle being an ambush. Because with an ambush, if you get a surprise round, the enemy's going twice before you, and at first level, when you have 12 health, getting hit twice is a death sentence. So maybe not having a surprise round. I don't know. I mean, that's probably what I would do if I was running the game, having played through the game.
Yeah, it's. It also depends on the initiative rolls too. So you probably they wouldn't go twice, but
It might.
It's possible. I think that's what happened.
I mean, I roll real bad initiative in general. It's one of my things.
Yes. So
it's on my OkCupid profile.
Go, please.
Rolls poorly at initiative.
So there's
It's like a metaphor too. All right, I'm done talking about OkCupid.
Anyway, so that's chapter 1.
It's chapter 1. It's good.
Chapter 2 introduces you make it to the town of Phandelver, which there's a little map. Phandelver. And this is kind of your typical, you just did your intro mission in any kind of video game, and now you head to the first town, and there's shops where you can buy stuff, and there's tons of NPCs that will give you tons of quests.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to go through every single little place, but almost every place has an NPC that will give you a quest. Tell you, if you go sort out this, I'll get you money, I'll introduce you to these folks, I know about something else, and a lot of them you'll see kind of intertwine and will all work in the same way. Yeah. And then, at some point, basically, some of these local bandit thugs are supposed to come and approach the players if the players don't approach them first. And then that kind of is supposed to trigger this whole, you're going to try to track down the bandits to their hideout, go fight through the whole bandit hideout, and see what you can learn about that. And you're also trying to track down some other characters that people in the town. Sildar sends you to try to find his friend, so you're trying to find him and everybody else. The cave, the actual hideout, has skeletons, more goblins, a couple more bugbears, a Nothic, which is pretty cool, and a mage.
One of the things I'm going to say overall about this short campaign that I really liked is the villains the enemies are are varied.
Yes. Yeah, more like, in my mind, what a traditional D&D campaign is, where you have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you. Doing a review here.
Inconsiderate.
Don't listen. You make your way through this. There are some magic items you could find. Nothing crazy, but stuff you could easily glance over. And then, depending on how things go with the fight with the mage, he could escape. And it's kind of unfortunate if he were to, because you miss out on a bunch of stuff.
Real good stuff.
And the game has nothing built into it for him to come back. It's just like he's gone. You can make him come back, I guess, if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of so that's the crux of the second chapter, is getting and fighting in this hideout, but also introducing yourself to all the townsfolk and getting all the quests. As far as how things go when we play, I'd say it pretty much went like that.
It was kind of overwhelming for at least me because, we got there, we went to one place and we met an NPC and he gave us a quest. And then it felt like that process repeated in 5 or 6 different places. So by the end of that, even though I was writing things down, I was like, I don't know who we talked to, I don't know where we're supposed to go, I don't know why we're supposed to go. And also, some of the quests that you get seem kind of innocuous, like, hey, there's a Banshee, go talk to her. Whereas at the point when you get with the bandits, they're called the Red Brands, and they're kind of holding the town hostage. Not hostage, but they're the whole town is afraid of this band of bandits. So that seemed like kind of a bigger quest, and we were level 2, so we were like, I don't know, should we go take care of some of these other little quests before we take care of the Red Brand situation, but you're supposed to take care of the Red Brand situation first. So yeah, that's my only critique of this section is it's kind of overwhelming to get all these quests at once and try and figure out what order you should do them in to not die.
There is, I counted it out, 7 quests in the town. So you technically, as a DM, it's really your prerogative whether you want to give out all those quests. And I mean, but it's entirely possible that your players are going to walk around the town and want to visit everything in the town, and in doing so, they're going to get the quests. If they chose like, oh, we're going to go, and they're very driven, oh, there's bandits, let's go, and then they'll figure stuff out afterwards. So that's pretty much chapter 2. I don't, again, other than maybe a better way to facilitate the quests, but again, you can't do that because you don't know where the players are going to go, which NPC they're going to hit up first. But the only reason it's kind of clearly driven is completing that hideout will pretty much level you up to level 3.
Yeah.
And like even the random encounters that you could run into in the wild past this chapter could be more than lethal for a second level party. Again, mind that we were doing this with 2 people rather than 4 or 6. Also, as a point, I will say, again, we mentioned you can see all the videos we've completed this campaign, recorded and or streamed the entire process, and I only have just general knowledge of D&D 5th edition and a little bit about how this particular campaign is played. For the most part, I didn't prep anything ahead of time. I just kind of read through it, and you'll see that it comes up in the game as we go through. We're like, hang on, let me take a look at a second, read a section, but for the most part, I kind of just did it on the fly to see how it could go with somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing or has prepared anything. And I'd say it went fairly well.
Went smoothly.
Yeah, so part 3 is
one more thing about that too.
Yeah.
Since you are getting a lot of NPCs, do your best as a DM to vary them and make them likable and memorable. That'll help your players keep track of which quest goes to which person. And like, one of them made amazing apple pie, and that was it. That was like Ted just threw that little piece of flavor in there. I doubt it's in there.
There's nothing about
that. He was just like, yeah, this guy, his wife makes amazing apple pie. And we were like, we love this person because of apple pie, and we remembered it, and it made it more memorable and more kind of real. So throw in some flavor.
They owned an apple orchard. I figured it only made sense.
It's true.
But so then on to part 3. This is kind of where you're going to start resolving a lot of those quests that you just got. There's a lot more. This is where you also have room to play with stuff. If you want to improv things as the DM, you can do this. There's a table for wilderness, encounters. You can have your players roll, you can roll, and they might not encounter anything, but that will get them extra XP to help them level up. And I mean, this varies from sturges, which are basically just giant mosquitoes, to ogres, or to a ogre, I should say, orcs. And then the highest thing they could run into would be an owlbear, which could be very lethal to a 3rd level party.
Yeah.
Especially if only 2. But the first thing they took care of, and it's just I'm going through chronologically in the book, is taking care of the Banshee mission. You're supposed to go encounter this Banshee, play up to her vanity, and get information for one of the characters in the town. So that's your whole mission. Just ask about something, ask about the spell book, and that's it. And then you move on to this Old Owl Well, which is a nearby town. There's supposed to be undead things happening. It turns out there's a red wizard there who's summoning the undead. And this can go one of many different ways. You could choose to befriend him, try to strike a deal up with him, or just kill him. And then the final kind of piece of chapter 3, I think, maybe. Jeez, chapter 3 was pretty long. It's still on chapter 3. Yeah. You know what? Let's we'll do this next piece and we'll go back and review it and continue on because there's a lot of stuff here in chapter 3. And the final piece of this little section we're going to talk about is the ruins of Thunder Tree. It's a nearby town that was destroyed. I believe it had to do with the explosion of Mount Hope now. The volcano had to do with some of the reason why people fled. And you're trying to find a druid here who's going to help you track down your ultimate goal of finding your friend Gundren Rockseeker at where the Cragmaw goblins have taken him, and eventually find Wave Echo Cave. So you work through the whole town, you find the druid, things like that. There's a dragon in the town. There are a lot of zombies and plant monsters in the town. Drive the dragon off. That's a big thing. You can find a couple more quests can get filled out. Fight off some spiders and so on. Deal with some kind of dragon cultists. And that's pretty much it. And then you can just complete, get out of there. You got the information you wanted. The druid wants you to deal with the dragon. You deal with the dragon. He'll tell you where you need to go. So let's go back and talk about the Banshee.
That went really, really swimmingly.
Yeah.
We just we did what we were supposed to do, and she didn't have the book, and that was it.
Yep. And the other thing they mention in here is you could technically, the Banshee says she'll answer any question you want. You guys did exactly what you were supposed to do and asked her, about the book that the sister wanted to know about. You could have asked her any question. And then, potentially lied to the priestess if you wanted to.
That's fine.
So let's talk about the wizard and his zombies.
Oh, that was fun. We cast silence on the wizard, so we couldn't cast any spells, and then ambushed him.
Yep.
He died real quick, because apparently wizards are kind of bitches when you hit them with a sword and a monk just... That's flurry of blows. That didn't look like flurry of blows. It was supposed to be flurry of blows.
Yeah, he went down pretty quickly. I mean, he was a wizard, so he didn't have a ton of health. So he went down pretty quickly, and then they took out his zombie minions. And again, like I said, there were plenty of options. You could have struck up a deal with him. You could have killed him. You could have gone back to the Banshee and tried to ask the Banshee a question to answer one of his questions.
Didn't he offer us, hey, if you do this thing for me, then I will leave? Wasn't that one of the options?
He was looking for information to take back to Thay with him.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. So he was like, if you get me information I can take back to Thay, then I'll leave, and it won't be a problem for you guys anymore. But,
yeah, he would have had you ask the Banshee a question about, what's the name of the wizard who built Old Owl Well, was his question.
Oh, alright. We never got the question because he died too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that.
He also had some nice magic items. He had a Ring of Protection, which was...
I think that's why we killed him. I think I had Detect Magic up, and it was like, yeah, there's a lot of magic items in this tent over here that he lives in. We're like, oh, we want those. We're gonna have to kill this guy.
Yeah. And then let's talk about Thunder Tree.
Thunder Tree went pretty well. There were a lot of those little plant dudes. What are they called?
Twig Blights.
What?
Twig Blights.
Twig Blights. A lot of Twig Blights. They were super easy. We killed a lot of them.
Yeah, they have minimal health.
They have 4 health.
Yep. There were the ash zombies, which were kind of cool.
Yeah, I like those.
Covered in ash, and when you hit them, it makes a saving throw, or you have disadvantage on all your attack rolls because you breathe in all the ashes.
We killed a dragon. Just 2 of us. Just paladin and a cleric. Killed a dragon. It's not like a huge deal, but it's pretty cool.
So technically what happens is when the dragon gets down to half health, it's supposed to flee. And the party gets experience if they manage to do that. 2,000 experience amongst the party if they drive him off. If it says right in the book, given their level, the characters aren't likely to slay the dragon, but it's worth 3,900 XP.
Yeah, it is.
Now, they had done crappy in the beginning.
Real bad. Rolled like chumps. Like me with initiative.
Yes, like you with initiative. But towards the end, it all changed, and the turn that they took it from when it was about to get to below half health, it went from almost at half health to 15 health in that turn. And the dragon, it's in a tower, so it can't fly. It has to climb its way up and then fly out. So actually it was about to leave, and it had 4 health left. And the paladin hit it with a javelin, I think on a roll that had disadvantage, because it was long range, and it just managed to kill the dragon.
That was fun.
So about the stuff that's happened so far, would you change anything?
No.
I think it played pretty smoothly,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Oh, we convinced one of the dragon cultists to not be a dragon cultist.
Yeah.
We convinced him to join the Emerald Enclave instead.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah. He just didn't want to die.
But no, it was good. It was good. You get a magic axe in here that does max damage to plant and wood creatures.
Yep.
So that was cool.
Alright, so that's pretty much that. I don't think there was much else.
No, that's pretty much it.
So you move on to one of these sections here. The next one in the actual chronological of the book is Wyvern Tour. This is where you're sent to deal with some orcs. The big difference is there's a one orc that's a watch, another on watch, another orc that just has more hit points, 6 orcs, and then an ogre. And they were actually going to go attempt to take care of this immediately at level 2.
Yeah.
And 8 orcs plus an ogre is a lot for 2 people to handle at level 2. So I did my best without really forcing them to kind of steward them towards going in to do the red brand situation.
Yeah.
But I'd say you guys did this kind of right towards the end before you went back and finished it. So at that point you were like maybe level 4, maybe 5. So this didn't really pose much of an obstacle.
I don't remember it.
Well, there you go.
I think we just showed up and we killed them all. And then we left.
Alright. So I don't think we need to talk about that. That's pretty much how that goes.
Yeah, kill them.
Cragmaw Castle. So this is where you're going. You found the information, whether it be from you asked Agatha how to find it, you found it from somebody else, you tracked down a goblin or an orc and beat it out of them, followed them, whatever it is, or you got the information from the druid. This is one of the first kind of. You already did the cave. This is like your second dungeon.
Yeah.
So I feel like there wasn't a ton of. There was like one trap, but I think you guys avoided it. And then just like basically systematically going through this castle.
You just go room to room, kill things.
You actually find Sildar's gear in the one room.
Yeah.
One of the cool things is it's a lot of hobgoblins and goblins. There's actually a Grick, which again, Grick, if you don't know what one is. There you go. It's actually the pet of one of the goblins, the Goblin Priest. And there's an owlbear. So there's a little bit of variety. A couple of bugbears too, I believe. Oh, and a doppelganger.
And a doppelganger.
We'll get to the doppelganger in a second.
Meet your first doppelganger.
This is the end. This is the kind of the completion of chapter 3. So why don't we go back and talk about? Like I said, I feel like Wyvern Tour is useless. Let's talk about the castle.
All right.
What's on the castle?
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we did just go room to room, killed whatever was in that room, and then moved on. I don't think there were traps or puzzles or anything like that. Nothing major.
Anything memorable, anything you liked about this? Did you want to change, would you change anything about it?
Maybe some more, maybe like a trap or a riddle or a puzzle or something like that. I mean, it's pretty vanilla. Go to this room, kill these people. Go to this room, kill these people. Unless there's something that I'm absolutely forgetting. But that's what I remember it being.
You guys got the little figure, the sun elf figure that lets you cast augury.
Yeah, we did do that.
Forgot about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The Grick freaked you guys out a little bit because it had tentacles and
Yeah, didn't it attach to Jake?
Yes. The doppelganger confused you guys.
Yes.
The doppelganger was a drow.
Yeah, so throughout this kind of whole campaign, not the whole thing. Yeah, through the whole thing.
The second one, yeah.
Through the whole thing. You've been hearing about the Black Spider, I think it was called. And basically, so you know that in charge of these goblins and hobgoblins and all that stuff is a drow called the Black Spider. He's in charge. And then you see a drow and you think you got him, but it's a doppelganger.
Yeah.
So that threw us off, I guess.
Yeah.
At one point, he had a wanted poster of my character, and he got the nose wrong.
That's true. What if he found a goblin that had the wanted poster on him? So that was a little shaking. I feel like people are out for him.
People are out for me.
And I tweaked one of the the goblins. There's a Goblin Priest who, all it says is there's 2 ordinary goblins and 1 goblin with 12 hit points. That's it.
How much do goblins usually have?
5.
Oh, okay.
So I gave him like 50, and I made him like this holy warrior of Magoobliet, the goblin god, and he wreaked havoc on
He did.
on you guys. I had him.
He almost killed the level 5 paladin.
Leap onto the paladin and just try to choke him out, grapple him, and just spend the entire until he died, did nothing but try to choke out the paladin.
And he put a curse on him.
Yeah.
The curse of Magoobliet.
Yeah. Whether or not that comes back to bite him, I guess we'll have to find out.
I don't know.
And then you actually end up finding Gundren in one of the rooms.
Yeah.
So you rescue Gundren, and he says, take me back to Phandelver. And then it's on to the final chapter, which is Wayback Cave. Wayback Cave is
gigantic.
It is a very large map. It's one of those lovely maps where each square is 10 feet. So in the interest of attempting it in the most complex map in the game, in this particular game, I decided to try Theater of the Mind and not draw anything out and just see if we could get through it. And we managed to. I actually completely forgot about this section, which was there's wandering monsters can show up.
Oh shit.
It's just a random table, and it's...
Okra jelly?
Yeah, that's like
Did we fight an okra jelly?
Yeah.
No, we fought an okra jelly.
That's the ooze.
Yeah, the ooze.
So basically what this is you can do random encounters. If people are bored, you can do a random encounter, or it also says if they spend too long in one room and aren't doing anything, send something at them.
Okay.
I feel like we did a pretty good job of going through, so I didn't want to stop the kind of momentum. So they did this in about 2 sessions.
Yeah.
So basically, again, this one is less systematic than Cragmaw Castle.
Yes.
There are a ton of different ways.
Yeah.
A lot of the ways loop back around. You can go underwater. You can go in all these different directions. So there's trapped areas. There's spore areas with poisonous mushrooms. Secret doors. Multiple different ways you can go. Things are locked. You have to break them open. So it's really on your players to decide which way they want to go to get through this. Long story short, you've got more Sturges, some skeletons, a lot of ghouls.
Some ghouls.
Bugbears. There's a flame skull, which is probably my favorite enemy of this campaign, which I've used in other games in older editions, but it's really cool. It has fire, eye beams, and it can cast fireball, which really threw them off. They were not expecting a skull to throw a fireball at them. There's a wraith. Spectator, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
Again, more doppelgangers.
More doppelgangers.
And then eventually giant spiders and the black spider himself. So, and then again you get to the end, and then you are actually able to rescue one of the other Rock Seeker brothers as well. So why don't we talk about how this whole thing went down?
It went down well.
Okay.
What did you think?
I feel like it was this being as complex as a map as this was, describing this all Theater of the Mind style was a little tricky just because it's a maze. You can go many different ways and a lot of them link up in different areas.
Yeah.
So describing that with just the power of your mind and your voice and trying to get 3 other people to pick up what you're putting down is a little tricky. But again, it would take a full size, even the bigger battle map to even draw it out.
Yeah, it would be huge.
So.
No, I think it went well. I really have no regrets about how we handled it. I mean, I started freaking out when he started describing the Spectator because I don't know a lot about monsters in D&D, but I know what a Beholder is. And when he was like, yeah, there's a thing in front of you and it has a giant eyeball in the middle and it has 4 kind of tentacles with all eyeballs on them, I'm like, that sounds like a Beholder. We're level 5. I'm gonna die.
And how'd that go down?
That went on really easy. He just left.
Yeah, there's a function where a Spectator is less like a lesser Beholder that's pretty much is summoned by a wizard with the sole purpose of guarding or performing some duty. And once that duty is complete, they disappear and go back to wherever they came from. and they were able to convince the spectator that they belonged there and they were coming to relieve it of duty, and then it just left.
It was super easy.
There was the Wraith.
We just killed the Wraith.
Yeah.
Apparently you can talk a Wraith down. I don't know. I just hit it.
Well,
hit it with an axe.
Yeah, that's true. There was the kind of Spellforge thing.
Oh, that was really cool. There's basically like a brazier with some magic fire, and anything you put in the brazier, you roll a d12, and it is a +1 whatever for whatever you get on the d12 for that many hours.
Yeah, and this is a remnant of the older Spellforge, which again, harkening back to older editions, would allow you to craft magic items. Since now it's less powerful magic, so it's only temporary magic. But there were a couple other cool magic items in there. Lightbringer, the mace, and Dragon Guard, the breastplate.
Yes.
So then you guys made it a little further through and you found a doppelganger.
Yeah,
as another drow.
We thought we had the black spider again. We didn't. It was just another doppelganger.
And then finally came the final fight, and the black spider summoned giant spiders to fight with him.
As one does.
And he's just a 4th level wizard, I think. So how'd that fight go?
It went poorly. not the worst, but it went poorly. What was really funny that I liked is we had already fought the Flame Skull, then we get to this level, and Ted's like, alright, cool. We got his spells suck. Like, compared to the Flame Skull, this guy's spell sucks. Right? Alright, is it my turn? And then, what was it, Suggestion or Command?
Suggestion.
Then he cast Suggestion, and made our Paladin kill our Monk. Going by the strict rules of the game, the monk should have been dead. Dead. But Ted let it fly. He was like, no, he's just unconscious. Be cool. Yeah, so that wrecked house. Just, that alone fucking could have taken us down. But, I used Shield of Faith, great spell. Not Shield of Faith. Spirit Guardians, great spell. Took down a couple things. It was fun.
Yeah, and again, it did surprise me because the Flame Skull has 3rd level spells, and the big bad of the whole game has only 2nd level spells, and he has typical wizard spells. He's got Magic Missile, Mage Armor, Suggestion, Invisibility. So invisibility, good for getting your kind of sneak attack stuff and disappearing. But, I guess that's maybe what you're supposed to have him do is maybe try to leave. I actually, again, didn't prepare, so I actually skipped the entire role-playing his section. Although I did try to have him he was intrigued in the players and wanted to ask them questions.
We just want to kill him.
I was like, yeah, tell me about yourself. And I feel like I saw the look on Sean's face, and you can see it if you watch the video, which is not uploaded yet, but it will be. Where he seemed very intrigued and wanted.
I was totally ready to
tell him, and then Jake was like, "No, we're not telling this guy anything else. He doesn't get to know anything about us."
Paladin dropped the hammer. I had to listen.
So yeah, it went well. All I did was I kind of too much Jessica Jones, I guess. I was just like, "You kill him," and then he failed to save. So he did.
Yep. And that was one of the things that we found out about Suggestion, is there's just one save. Yeah. Like most other mind control spells, like Crown of Madness and stuff, you make another save every turn. Suggestion, no.
You face with one save and it lasts 8 hours.
Yeah.
Again, it's a suggestion, and it can only be you can't cause them to cause harm to themselves.
Yeah, and it goes away if you attack the creature who has it on them. But then again, like, 2 of the party members were fighting each other. The monk was like, should I hit the paladin? I don't even, you know what, no, I'm gonna attack the guy who's casting the spell. But the black spider also had shield. So it was like, alright, I punch him, shield. Shit.
Yeah. So, it was a good fight. It
was fun.
It did the best. It did almost exactly how I wanted, because it put the fear in them for, like, fireball is great and scary, but mass suggestion in the future is huge. Terrifying. It's a lot worse, yeah. So mind control spells are always scarier. Because if we had a wizard in the party who had the high damaging spells left still, and they suggested the wizard, and like, you know, use your spells and hurt this guy or whatever it is, and the wizard's throwing, you know, whatever their damaging spells are, that's a lot more fatal than the paladin swinging a sword.
I mean, even if, it wouldn't have, probably wouldn't have happened, but as a cleric, if I had failed to save, just, you know, Spirit Guardians and Guiding Bolt.
Yeah.
Just like, use your Guiding Bolt him. Alright, man, 3d8s.
Yeah. 46.
46s.
Yeah.
And then if they come near me, 3d8 with Spirit Guardians.
Yeah.
Spirit Guardians is good, look it up.
Yes. So, and then that's pretty much it. They find a book in the one room that has a map on the cover, and the whole purpose of that book is basically, it says it's a map that leads to a dungeon. And that's it. And it basically says that you can take that and use that to further the adventures of these characters. They're going to be around level 5 by the time it ends, so it also works well to kind of roll into Princes of the Apocalypse, skip all the beginning Red Larch junk, and just roll right into the main campaign. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, they also tease with the Red Wizards of Fae and Cult of the Dragon members in Chapter 3. Those are both big things in Heart of the Dragon Queen, so if you don't mind scaling up everything in that book, then you could take this right into Heart of the Dragon Queen.
And in the back here, after the actual campaign, you have a brief overview of the magic items that are available. You have a whole section, appendices on monsters and how monsters' kind of skills and abilities and things go. And then at the end, it's just a breakdown of every monster that's listed in this book. So you don't actually have to reference the monster manual at all. You can run the entire, and that's how I did this. I ran the entire campaign, minus extra magic items that I gave them just for fun, was all contained within this book. We completed it, like we said, probably maybe a little more than 10 hours, but it was, the videos, it's 10 videos, but some of those videos were one session broken up into 2. All in all, thoughts on this?
Had a lot of fun. Varied items, cool magic items, which kind of like whet the palate for playing more in the game. By the time you hit like level 5, you're starting to really like your character. I don't know. I had a great time.
Would you change, other than the stuff we talked about, anything overarching you would want to adjust about this?
Not really. I mean, there were role-playing missions, there were combat missions. I felt like it gave you a nice combination of a lot of different things. I was a big fan.
Again, as having run this game, I will say all the resources you need are in here. You're not find yourself running, looking other places for stuff like that. I don't think there was anything that really made no sense to me. Sometimes they do go and give you more information than your players would probably ever ask for, which is not a bad thing. This is the third time, I haven't ran it to completion, except for this time, but the third time I've ran this game, and I'm not tired of running it. I do enjoy it, and I have varied things up a little bit, changed the way some NPCs interact, and the way items and things are handled. But to be a DM and run this thing 3 times, I ran that first cave 3 times, and it went 3 different ways with 3 different groups of people. So it is varied enough, and I do think it is very well done. And it fits very well in a starter set, so something that you want to just get your intro to. Mm-hmm. It says ages 12 and plus. I think a 12-year-old could probably follow this by the book and run it for his friends. Yeah. Or her friends. Lost Mines of Phandelver.
I will say that not a lot, but they have a lot of cool magic items for spellcasters.
Yes.
Like Staff of Defense, which gets you can use shield like 4 times a day or something like that. What are the other ones? Wand of the War Mage, a Wand of...
The Wand of the War Mage was me. That wasn't...
Oh, that wasn't in there?
That wasn't in there.
Still cool.
Wand of the Magic Missiles, Black Spider Staff.
Yeah, there's
a bunch of scrolls, as always, in any game.
Scrolls of Revivify, which is great.
Gauntlets of Overpower, Ring of Protection, a couple of potions, +1 weapons, +1 armor, Boots of Striding and Springing. So yeah, basis.
Very good. Very, very good thing. That's there.
Magic items.
They're magical.
Well, guys, if you don't have anything else to say, I think we'll end this.
To say.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what you think. Have you ran Lost Mines of Phandelver? Did it go the same or similar? Was it awful? Did you hate it? And if so, I really actually want to know why.
That was
I'd
crazy.
like to comment on that.
Yeah,
so.
that'd be awesome.
But anyway, guys, you can again links in the description for the playlist that has our playthrough of this. And if you check those out, let us know what you think. Let us know what you actually think more of the actual layout of how things are filmed, and what you think of Pat. Because sometimes he does sexy dances, doesn't
He
show
does.
up. I don't know what his deal is.
Sexy dance, and then he vanishes for a month.
Yeah.
He's like my dad.
Oh no.